Welcome back to CIA Declassified. It is a 240-page book written in a language that doesn't exist. It features drawings of plants that don't grow on Earth and celestial maps that don't match our stars. It is the Voynich manuscript. To the average historian, it's a medieval curiosity, but to William Friedman, the man who broke the Japanese Purple Code during World War II and essentially founded the NSA, it was a personal affront. In the early days of the CIA, Friedman led a dedicated Voynich study group. They weren't looking for history, they were looking for the ultimate encryption. The declassified memos regarding the Voynich manuscript reveal that the CIA viewed the book not as art, but as a synthetic language test case. William Friedman and his wife Elizabeth Smith Friedman, also a legendary cryptanalyst, spent decades analyzing the book. Declassified internal CIA correspondence show that Friedman applied the same frequency analysis used to break Soviet ciphers to the manuscript. He concluded that the book wasn't just random gibberish, it followed the mathematical laws of a structured language, yet it remained statistically unique. A quote from William Friedman, Internal Memorandum, 1950. The Voynich manuscript represents a challenge of a different order. If this is a cipher, it is one that utilizes a sliding scale of symbol to meaning that predates our most advanced mechanical systems by 500 years. If we cannot break a 15th century text, we must reevaluate the foundational security of our current diplomatic cables, end quote. The CIA study group utilized early IBM mainframes to categorize every Voynich Z character. They discovered that the language has zero redundancy, meaning it's more efficient than English or any known European language. This led the agency to wonder, was the book a manual for a lost form of biological or chemical warfare? During the height of the investigation, the CIA collaborated with Yale University librarian James Babb. Babb, who held the manuscript at the library, allowed agency technicians to perform infrared and ultraviolet scans. These tests were not intended to date the ink, which was already suspected to be 15th century, but to look for latent markings or micro shorthand hidden within the brushstrokes of the strange plants. In 1944, before the CIA's formal inception, Friedman organized a secret Voynich club at Arlington Hall. The club consisted of the finest minds in American intelligence. They utilized the index of coincidence method, a statistical measure of the variation of letter frequencies. To their shock, the Voynich text scored closer to natural language than any machine-generated code of the era, suggesting the author had a mastery of linguistics that seemed impossible for the Middle Ages. A declassified 1962 memo from the agency analyst Bridget Sanderson revealed that the CIA attempted to map the word length distributions of the manuscript against 20 known languages. The data showed that the Voynich words are significantly shorter on average than Latin or Greek, and the manuscript lacks any one-letter words or two-letter words in certain sections. This led Sanderson to hypothesize that the text might be a phonetic transcription of a dead dialect rather than a complex cipher. Computational analysis conducted by agency-linked mathematicians discovered a phenomenon known as low entropy. In most languages, the order of letters is somewhat predictable. In the Voynich, the predictability is so high that it defies standard linguistic evolution. The CIA logs suggest that this could imply the language was constructed from scratch for the purpose of hiding technical data, a technique the agency itself was refining for one-time pad operations. The agency was one of the first organizations to request a high-precision analysis of the volume's origin. While carbon dating was in its infancy during the initial study, CIA-linked researchers tracked the pedigree of the manuscript through the court of Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II. Declassified notes indicate they were looking for evidence that the book had been used as a token of credential for 17th century spies traveling between Prague and London. The most sensitive declassified documents regarding the Voynich study group are found in the Technical Services Division archives. Curiously, several pages discussing the botanical illustrations are almost entirely blacked out. The heaviest redactions occur when the CIA analysts discussed balneological, balneological, section, the drawings of women bathing in strange green liquids connected by tubes. There is heavy speculation that the CIA's chemical weapons experts identified specific molecular structures within these drawings. The theory suggests the redactions cover the agency's attempt to recreate unknown bioactive compounds described in the book's illustrations. Further speculation involves the extraterrestrial linguistic hypothesis. Within the redacted memos, some researchers believe there are references to nonlinear scripts. The speculation posits that the CIA investigated whether the Voynich manuscript was a recovered artifact, a manual of non-human origin that served as a primer for an advanced non-terrestrial science. One of the most intriguing redacted sections follows a memo titled Green Alchemy and Transmutation. It's speculated that CIA operatives explored whether the manuscript was a guide to early cold fusion or a similar high-energy process disguised as medieval medicine. The redactions here are so absolute that not even the distribution list of the memo remains visible, suggesting the science within the Voynich might still be classified as a matter of global energy security. There's a lingering theory among former intelligence officers that the study group actually found a breakthrough they couldn't share. The speculation suggests that the manuscript is a psychological trigger, a document designed to reorganize the neural pathways of the reader. If true, the redactions would protect a form of cognitive encryption that the agency feared could be used for advanced brainwashing or intelligence enhancement. Was the CIA's interest in the Voynich manuscript a success? In terms of breaking the code, it was a total failure. The book remains unread to this day. However, as a training exercise, it was invaluable. A quote from a declassified NSA historical review. While the Friedman study group failed to produce a plain text translation of the Voynich material, the techniques developed, specifically the unconstrained pattern recognition, were later applied to the detection of burst transmissions from Soviet deep-sea platforms. End quote. William Friedman eventually suffered a series of mental breakdowns, which some of his colleagues attributed to his obsession with the book. He left a coded message on his own tombstone, but the Unbreakable book remained his only unsolved case. The agency's work did prove one critical negative. The manuscript was not a simple substitution cipher. By exhausting every possible iteration of known 15th century encryption techniques, the CIA effectively ruled out the possibility that the book was a standard diplomatic or religious code of its time. This failure forced the agency to pioneer the field of atypical cryptanalysis, which is now used to identify signals in deep space. The Voynich memo led to several breakthroughs in Cold War cryptanalysis. Automated language identification, the agency developed early software to distinguish between true language and generated noise, a direct result of trying to prove the Voynich wasn't a hoax. Polyalphabetic analysis, the study group's work refined the way the CIA looked at variable ciphers, which helped in the cracking of the Venona project intercepts. And information density theory. The discovery of Voynich's low entropy helped the CIA develop more compact ways to transmit data over low bandwidth clandestine radios. The Voynich manuscript continues to sit in a vault at Yale University, a silent defiance of the world's most powerful intelligence agency. It serves as a reminder that there are some secrets that even the best code breakers in the world cannot reach. Next time on CIA Declassified, we move from the mysteries of the mind to the tunnels beneath New York. We examine Project Big City. What happens when the CIA turns a subway system into a laboratory? We'll look at the declassified logs of how the agency tested the dispersal of biological agents in the New York City subways. From light bulbs filled with bacteria to the cloud tracking of unsuspecting commuters, we explore the day the city became a petri dish. Join us for the cloud below. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.